From the outside, everything looks fine. You have everything you need to be happy, and anyone watching your life would see someone who is perfectly in order and completely at peace. Nothing is falling apart in your world. Your days are quiet, your routines are steady, and there is no visible storm on the horizon to suggest that anything is actually wrong. Nothing dramatic actually happened to cause this feeling. There was no sudden loss or moment of crisis to explain why the light in your heart has started to fade away. But something inside you still feels heavy. It is a weight that you carry into every room and every conversation, even when you are trying your hardest to smile and be present. And you don't know why it is there. You search your mind for a logical reason or a clear cause, but the math of your daily life simply doesn't add up to this persistent pain. Because your life doesn't look broken to anyone looking from the outside, and yet the foundation of your soul feels like it is under an immense amount of silent strain. But your heart doesn't feel light anymore. It feels like it is submerged in deep water, struggling to find the surface even when the sun is shining brightly on everyone else. You keep going despite the growing weight. You wake up and do the work that is required of you, maintaining the balance that everyone expects to see in your life. You keep functioning as if everything is perfectly normal, but every breath feels like a conscious effort, and every small task feels like a mountain you have to climb. You do what you need to do to keep moving forward. You are faithful to your responsibilities, but you are walking through the world with a heavy ghost that no one sees. But deep inside your own heart, in the secret places where no one else is allowed to go, the soft strain is starting to become more than you can possibly carry. Everything feels much heavier than it should right now. And you wonder if you are simply weak or if the weight of the invisible world is actually increasing around you. And that kind of pain is so incredibly hard to explain to others, because there are no words for a hurt that has no obvious cause and no recognizable name. Because nothing looks wrong from the outside, and yet the inner weight is growing until it fills every hidden corner of your mind and every chamber of your heart. But something still hurts deep down, and you are tired of pretending that the weight isn't there and that you are perfectly fine living in the silence of this pain. You try your hardest to focus on everything you have to be thankful for, hoping that gratitude will finally lift the weight off your heart. You constantly remind yourself that other people are fighting much harder battles, as if comparing your pain to theirs could make your own burden disappear. You tell yourself that you have every reason to be content right now, and that you should feel perfectly okay with the way your life is. You wonder if you should even be feeling happy by now, but the joy you expect to feel feels like a foreign language you forgot how to speak. You hold on to the fact that you are still here and still standing, believing that simply existing should be enough to satisfy your tired soul. You are still functioning and playing your part perfectly for everyone to see, but the internal energy you once had has slowly leaked away. You keep moving forward into every new morning with a quiet determination, putting one foot in front of the other because you don't know what else to do. You are still doing exactly what is expected of you every single day, fulfilling your duties while carrying a heavy secret no one else can see. But despite every effort you make to shake off the pressure, the heaviness stays with you like a constant companion that refuses to leave. You feel it sitting deep inside your chest like a stone, a burden that was placed there long ago and has slowly become a part of your identity. It lingers in your thoughts through every hour of the day, coloring every interaction and every memory with a subtle shade of quiet sorrow. It grows especially loud in the quiet moments of the night, when the world stops moving and you are finally left alone with the weight. And that disconnect confuses you more than the pain itself, because you search for a reason and find that the math of your life doesn't add up. It feels heavy because it doesn't match your life on paper, where everything looks successful and orderly to anyone who might be watching. Nothing looks broken in your world when you look at the surface, and yet you feel like you are walking through the ruins of a life you no longer know. But something feels fundamentally off deep within your spirit, like a single note in a song that is just enough out of tune to make the melody hurt. And the hardest part of it all is the sudden realization that you are fighting a battle that no one else in your life even knows is happening. You can't fully explain the depth of this feeling to the people you love, and trying to find the right words only makes the isolation feel more absolute. You just know that something is wrong in the center of your heart, and you are tired of searching for a logical answer that you can't seem to find. You just know that you don't feel light or free anymore, and you are starting to forget what it was like to walk through the world without this burden. You are starting to see that heaviness doesn't always come from visible problems. It often comes from the things we cannot show the world. Sometimes it comes from the hidden weight of expectations, a burden that rests quietly beneath the surface of a successful life. It is the unprocessed pressure of trying to be everything to everyone, a silent force that slowly builds until it feels like a mountain. It is the unspoken sadness of words left behind and feelings tucked away, waiting for a moment to finally be acknowledged. It is a long-term stress of constant endurance, the slow accumulation of worry that has finally filled every empty space in your mind. It is the quiet disappointment of dreams deferred or paths not taken, a gentle ache that resides in the quiet corners of your memory. It is the profound emotional exhaustion of pretending to be okay for so long, a weariness that reaches the very center of your being. It is the pain you learn to carry without even noticing its presence, until one day you realize you had forgotten what it felt like to be light. Your heart can get so tired of holding everything together, even when your life still looks perfectly stable and secure to everyone else. You can have every external marker of success and still feel hollow, because your life looks stable, but your heart is gasping for air. You have mastered the art of survival so well that it hides your actual suffering, leaving you isolated in a struggle that no one can see. Your ability to keep functioning despite the weight is what hides your pain. But doing your job doesn't mean your soul isn't crying out for rest. You've learned that a simple smile can hide an ocean of heaviness, but the mask is becoming far too heavy to hold up for another day. Just because your life looks fine on the outside and everything seems to be in its place, it doesn't mean that everything is actually okay within. Just because life looks fine doesn't mean your soul feels rested. It means you are finally ready to admit that you need more than just stability. Stop telling yourself that your pain isn't real just because it's hard to explain. Your struggle is valid even if the world cannot see the reason. You don't need visible chaos or a broken home to be emotionally tired. Sometimes the quietest lives carry the heaviest invisible weights. You don't need a dramatic reason to feel heavy today. It is okay to acknowledge that you are hurting without having to prove why. Sometimes your heart is simply responding to the depth of your own story, to the layers of life you have traveled through to get here. Your heart is reacting to everything you've been holding together for so long, all the moments you chose to be strong instead of being seen. You have carried the immense pressure to be okay for everyone else, making sure that no one ever saw the cracks in your own foundation. You have carried the heavy pressure to keep going when you wanted to stop, to keep functioning as if the weight was not there. You felt the pressure to stay strong for those who depend on you. But even the strongest pillar needs a moment to rest its weight. But carrying all of that silently has come at a high internal cost. Your soul is finally speaking up to tell you that it is tired. And the heaviness you feel may simply be your soul's way of saying something important. It is a signal that you need care too. You need care and kindness just as much as the people you help. You are allowed to be the one who is held today. You need care and a space free from all internal judgment. There is no shame in feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. You need care and a heart that is no longer clouded by shame, letting the light of understanding melt away the coldness within. You only need to face the simple and honest truth about your journey. And that truth is that you have been carrying far too much. You are tired in ways you haven't fully admitted to yourself yet. And it is finally time to be honest about the fatigue in your bones. Admitting that you are heavy is exactly where your healing begins. Honesty is the first step toward finding your way back to the light. Healing does not come from pretending you're fine for another day. It comes from the courage to say that you are not. There is real power in finally telling the truth about the weight you carry, and in realizing that you were never meant to carry it alone. You are beginning to shift your gaze from the struggle to the possibility of rest, and the air is starting to feel a little bit lighter. You are shifting away from the need for control and moving toward a heart that is finally ready to let go and be safe. So let go of the pressure to justify your pain to the world. You do not need to prove that your burden is real before you are allowed to ask for help. Let go of the need to explain everything perfectly to everyone around you, because some parts of your heart are only meant to be understood in the quiet. Let go of telling yourself that you should be perfectly fine by now. Your soul does not follow a calendar or a clock on its journey back to the light. You are allowed to feel heavy for as long as you need to. There is no shame in acknowledging the depth of the weight that you have been carrying alone. You are allowed to admit that you are tired of being strong for everyone else, and that your heart is gasping for a moment of true and honest rest. You are allowed to stop pretending that everything is perfectly fine. For true strength begins the moment you find the courage to be honest about your own limits. Not every wound in this life is loud or visible to others, but that does not mean the silent ones aren't deep or that they don't deserve your care. Not every pain is obvious or easy to name, but the quietness of your struggle does not make it any less significant or any less real to your soul. And the fact that you are still standing does not mean it didn't hurt. It just means you are finally ready to acknowledge the reality of your own journey. God is not asking you to perform a version of strength that isn't true. He is already meeting you in the place where you are most tired and broken. He is inviting you into a place of absolute honesty, a place where you can finally lay down the crushing burden of always trying to be okay. You are being invited to bring him the full weight of your heart, to hand over the hidden parts of yourself that have been hiding in the dark. Bring him the hidden sadness that you haven't dared to name, and let the warmth of his presence melt away the coldness that has taken root. Bring him the quiet burnout that has been flickering in your spirit, and let the light replace the exhaustion that sleep alone could never reach. Bring him the emotional fatigue of having to hold the whole world together, and finally allow yourself to be the one who is held today. Because healing does not start when you push harder against the wall. It starts the very moment you realize that you don't have to push anymore. It starts when you stop hiding the heaviness from your own heart, and you finally decide to stand in the light exactly as you are. And it starts when you let yourself be held in the middle of the mess, allowing grace to support the weight that you were never meant to carry. That is the release your soul has been searching for. The moment you finally stop fighting the reality of your own tired spirit. It is not about fixing everything instantly or making the pain vanish. It is about changing the way you carry the truth of your life. It is about no longer carrying the weight alone in the shadows, but allowing yourself to be supported by a love that never lets go. You are beginning to feel the shift deep within your bones as the heavy armor you've worn for so long finally starts to fall away. For the first time in years, you can take a breath that reaches your soul without the internal pressure of needing to be anything but human. There is a sacred power in surrender, in letting the fight end so that the work of healing can finally begin in the quiet. You are crossing the bridge from exhaustion into a new grace, leaving the heaviness behind as you walk toward the promise of rest. When you finally stop fighting the weight of your own heart, the energy you used to resist begins to return to you in the form of peace. Something significant starts to shift deep inside your spirit as you allow the old tensions to simply melt away into the quiet of the morning. This shift does not happen instantly or with a sudden burst of energy. It happens steadily, like the slow and certain rising of the sun. Healing happens quietly in the hidden places of your soul, as your heart finds its way back to its natural and healthy rhythm of life. You begin to breathe differently than you have in a very long time, reaching depths of your lungs you had forgotten were even there. You begin to feel less compressed by the expectations of the world, and more at home in the quiet and sacred space you are creating. You find that you are being much less hard on yourself today, and that the voice of judgment is being replaced by a whisper of grace. You feel less ashamed of your human limits and your need for rest, realizing that your worth was never tied to your ability to keep going. You start noticing what your soul has actually been needing all along, and you finally give yourself permission to listen to those needs. You find yourself drawn to the quiet necessity of rest, understanding that your body and your heart are deserving of a moment of true peace. You find yourself leaning into the power of absolute honesty, admitting to God and to yourself that you cannot carry this world alone. You find yourself drawn to the healing touch of gentleness, treating your own heart with the same kindness you have always offered to others. You find yourself drawn to the beauty of slower moments, learning to exist in the present instead of rushing toward a future that isn't here yet. A real and lasting connection starts to form between your spirit and the light, a bond that is stronger than any heaviness you've ever felt. And this quiet restoration of your tired heart is the true definition of healing. It is the process of being made whole from the inside out. It isn't a dramatic event or a sudden lightning strike, but it is a steady and sure return to the light that has always been waiting for you. It is a quiet peace that actually feels real to your soul, a rest that stays with you even when the noise of the world returns. It is not a loud victory or a public performance, but a private and sacred moment between you and the truth of who you are. It is a depth of warmth that will not flicker or fade away, a foundation that is being built one small and honest choice at a time. And slowly you realize that you are finally coming back to yourself, arriving at the place where your soul was always meant to live. You are watching the garden of your own heart turn toward the sun, and you are seeing the first signs of real and lasting growth. You are learning to sit in the silence without any fear, and for the first time, that silence feels incredibly sweet to your spirit. You aren't reaching for perfection anymore, but you are moving toward a new grace, a way of being that honors your story and your heart. You feel supported by a strength that is far beyond your own, and you know that you are safe in this very moment. In this very moment, you are becoming something new, and it is a beautiful thing to finally walk in your own peace. Now the whole world feels different to you, not because the world changed, but because you are finally walking in a space of quiet clarity. It is not a perfect stillness, and it doesn't need to be. It is simply a moment of peace that allows you to stand on solid ground again. The rhythm of your life feels much lighter now, as you allow the flow of the day to move without the constriction of your hidden burdens. The weight you were carrying is not controlling you anymore, because you have found a grounded presence that refuses to be shaken by the static. Because now you finally understand the message of the heaviness, And that clarity has turned your frustration into a stable sense of quiet wisdom. You stopped fighting your own heart and its needs, choosing instead to walk in the light of the truth you have finally dared to name. You stopped judging your own pain and your own tiredness. And in that moment of acceptance, you found a balance you never thought possible. You let the truth be true without needing an excuse or a reason. And that simple act of honesty has brought a soft calm to your soul. And that honesty created the space your heart needed for real peace. An environment where the Jesus light can finally rest beside you. This reassurance is not because your life suddenly changed or became easy, but because you know that you are no longer alone in the dark. The heaviness feels manageable because you stopped carrying it alone, and you allowed a greater strength to hold the weight with you. Now your soul can finally breathe without the constant pressure to perform, finding a stable peace that stays even when the world gets loud. Now the quiet moments of your day feel much softer than they used to, because you are no longer hiding from the truth of your own story. Now the heaviness no longer defines the whole room or every conversation, because you have found a warm clarity that makes room for joy. That is what real peace looks like for a tired soul. A constant flow of balance that doesn't need to be forced or controlled. It is not the total absence of weight or the disappearance of your past, but it is the presence of grace meeting you inside of it. Grace has finally met you in the very place you stopped hiding. And it has turned your hidden burden into a source of real strength. You feel a new sense of steadiness in your heart today, a foundation that is no longer built on the need for external success. Acceptance has finally taken root in the soil of your spirit, and it is the quiet rest that you have been searching for all along. You are at peace because you have finally told the truth to yourself, and that truth has set you free to walk into a brand new day. If life looks perfectly fine but you still feel heavy in your heart, please know that your pain is real and you are not alone in this feeling. That heaviness does not mean that you are ungrateful for your life. It simply means that there are parts of your soul that still need to be heard. It does not mean your faith is weak or that you aren't trying hard enough. It means you are a human being navigating a deep and complex story. It may simply mean that your soul is very tired from carrying everything on its own, and it is finally ready to lay that weight at the feet of grace. And tired souls need care and kindness, just like a tired body does. So allow yourself the same compassion you would offer to a dear friend. You can walk forward now without any sense of shame or judgment, because you have told the truth and the truth has finally set you free. You can walk forward without the internal pressure to perform strength, letting the quiet glow of peace be the only guide you follow today. You no longer have to live your life pretending everything is fine, because you have found a place where you can be honest and be loved. Just honesty, grace, and absolute rest are waiting for you in the light. And that is the only path you ever needed to take. And simply resting in the knowledge that you are safe and supported is enough. You can let the weight of the world fall away now.